Sociology, Part 2. 25. Explore the associative and dissociative forms of social interaction. Introduction. Social interaction is the fundamental process through which individuals and groups act, react, and relate to one another. It is the foundation of all social relationships and social structure. Interaction may promote harmony and cooperation, or it may lead to conflict and tension. Thus, sociologists classify interaction into associative, cooperative, and dissociative, conflictual, forms. Both are essential to understanding how society functions and evolves. Associative, cooperative, forms of social interaction. Associative interactions promote unity, cooperation, mutual benefit, and social harmony. These interactions help maintain order and stability in society. 1. Cooperation. Cooperation occurs when people work together to achieve shared goals. It exists at all levels: family, school, workplace, and community. Example: group projects, farming together, public campaigns. 2. Accommodation. Accommodation refers to adjustments made by individuals or groups to avoid conflict and maintain balance. It involves compromise and negotiation. Example: settling disputes through mediation or adjusting behavior in marriage or workplace. 3. Assimilation. Assimilation is a process in which individuals or groups adopt the cultural traits of another group, leading to cultural blending and unity. Example: migrants adopting language and customs of the host society. 4. Acculturation. Acculturation occurs when cultures come into contact and exchange ideas. Unlike assimilation, both groups retain their identity but borrow cultural elements from one another. Example: food habits, dress styles, global cultural influences. Dissociative, conflictual, forms of social interaction. Dissociative interactions involve opposition, competition, and conflict. These interactions may lead to social change but can also create tension and instability. 1. Competition. Competition occurs when individuals or groups pursue similar goals but cannot all succeed. There is no direct confrontation, but the struggle is implicit. Example: competition in exams, jobs, business markets. 2. Conflict. Conflict involves direct confrontation, aggression, or hostility between individuals or groups. It arises from incompatible interests, values, or goals. Example: caste conflicts, communal riots, political clashes. 3. Contravention. Contravention includes behaviors such as protests, criticism, resistance, and objection. It is less intense than open conflict but expresses disagreement or opposition. Example: strikes, demonstrations, boycotts. 4. Coercion. Coercion involves forcing individuals or groups to comply through threats, pressure, or use of authority. Example: police enforcement, use of legal or political power. Importance of both forms. Associative interactions promote stability, unity, and cooperation. Dissociative interactions highlight inequalities, push social reforms, and lead to change. Both forms are complementary and necessary for social development. Conclusion. Social interaction is the basis of social life, expressed through both cooperative, associative, and conflictual, dissociative, forms. While associative interactions foster harmony and integration, dissociative interactions reveal tensions and stimulate change. Understanding both forms helps us analyze social behavior, group dynamics, and community functioning in a balanced manner. 26. Contribution of Auguste Comte and why he is called the father of sociology. Introduction. Auguste Comte, 1798–1857, a French philosopher, is widely regarded as the father of sociology because he was the first to develop sociology as a systematic, scientific discipline. He coined the term sociology, established its scope and methods, and laid the foundation for the scientific study of society. His work marked the beginning of modern social science in Europe after the French and Industrial Revolutions. 1. Coining the term sociology. Comte introduced the term sociology in his work Course of Positive Philosophy, 1830–1842. He combined the Latin word socius, companion, and the Greek word logos, study, to mean the scientific study of society. This was the first time society was proposed as a subject of scientific analysis. 2. Positivism. Comte's most influential contribution was positivism, the belief that social phenomena should be studied using scientific methods such as observation, classification, and comparison, similar to natural sciences. Key features of his positivism include: * rejection of metaphysical explanations. * reliance on empirical evidence. * use of scientific laws to explain social behavior. Positivism became the foundation of modern sociological research methods. Law of three stages. Comte proposed that human society and knowledge progress through three stages. I. Theological stage. Society explains phenomena by referring to supernatural forces or gods. 2. Metaphysical stage. Abstract principles or philosophical ideas are used to explain reality. 3. Positive, scientific, stage. Society relies on scientific reasoning, observation, and empirical knowledge. This theory helped establish sociology as a modern science grounded in rationality and evidence. 4. Classification of sciences. Comte developed a hierarchy of sciences: mathematics, astronomy, physics, chemistry, biology, and sociology, placing sociology at the top because it deals with the most complex subject, human beings and society. This classification showed how social science is related to natural sciences. 5. Social statics and social dynamics. Comte divided sociology into two main branches. I. Social statics, the study of social order, harmony, and stability, example family, institutions, norms. 2. Social dynamics, the study of social change and progress. This distinction helped shape the later development of structural and evolutionary theories in sociology. 6. Scientific approach to social reform. Comte believed sociology should not only study society but also improve it. He advocated a positive polity, promoting morality, peace, and social unity. This reformist vision influenced later sociologists and social thinkers. Why Comte is called the father of sociology. He is given this title because he coined the term sociology. He established it as a distinct scientific discipline. He introduced scientific methods into social study. He created foundational theories such as the law of three stages. He classified sociology within the hierarchy of sciences. He set the direction for future sociological research. Conclusion. Auguste Comte's pioneering work laid the intellectual foundation for sociology as a modern science. Through positivism, classification of sciences, and the law of three stages, he provided sociology with its name, scope, methods, and purpose. His contributions continue to influence sociological theory and research, justifying his title as the father of sociology. 27. Émile Durkheim, his contributions and concept of division of labor. Introduction. Émile Durkheim, 1858–1917, is one of the founding fathers of sociology. He established sociology as a scientific discipline separate from philosophy and psychology. Durkheim emphasized empirical research, collective conscience, social solidarity, and the role of institutions in maintaining social order. His works such as The Division of Labor in Society, Suicide, and The Rules of Sociological Method created the foundation for modern sociological thought. Major contributions of Émile Durkheim. 1. Sociology as a scientific discipline. Durkheim insisted that sociology must study social facts, external, coercive forces that shape individual behavior. He introduced scientific methods like comparison, observation, and statistics, giving sociology a rigorous foundation. 2. Concept of social facts. Social facts are norms, values, customs, laws, and beliefs that exist outside the individual but influence behavior. This concept separated sociology from psychological explanations. 3. Study of suicide. In his work Suicide, Durkheim demonstrated that even highly personal acts have social causes. He identified 4 types of suicide: egoistic, altruistic, anomic, and fatalistic, based on social integration and regulation. This was a landmark in empirical sociology. 4. Theory of religion. In the elementary forms of religious life, Durkheim explained religion as a social institution that creates collective conscience and social solidarity. He argued that society worships itself through religious symbols. 5. Social solidarity. Durkheim distinguished between mechanical solidarity, traditional societies, and organic solidarity, modern societies. This distinction became central to the analysis of social cohesion and change. 6. Functionalism. Durkheim pioneered the functionalist school, viewing society as an integrated system where different institutions contribute to social stability. Durkheim's concept of the division of labor, detailed explanation. Durkheim's major work The Division of Labor in Society, 1893, explains how division of labor creates social solidarity. One purpose of division of labor. Durkheim argued that the division of labor is not only an economic phenomenon but also a moral and social one. It organizes individuals into specialized roles, promoting cooperation and interdependence. 2. Mechanical and organic solidarity. A mechanical solidarity, traditional societies. Asterisk based on similarity of individuals. Asterisk people perform similar tasks, hunting, farming. Asterisk strong collective conscience. Asterisk low specialization. Asterisk law is repressive, punishing. B. Organic solidarity, modern societies. Asterisk based on difference and specialization. Asterisk individuals depend on each other due to complex tasks. Asterisk weak collective conscience but strong interdependence. Asterisk law is restitutive, restoring relationships. 3 causes of division of labor. Durkheim believed that it emerges from the increase in population density and competition, forcing individuals to specialize in different functions. 4 abnormal forms of division of labor. Durkheim identified situations where division of labor does not create harmony. A. Anomic division of labor. Due to lack of regulation, leading to confusion, conflict, and moral disorder. B. Forced division of labor. Occurs when individuals are forced into roles due to inequality or lack of opportunity, example caste-based occupations. C. Poorly coordinated division of labor. Where individuals do not understand their roles, leading to inefficiency. 5 Importance of division of labor. Asterisk promotes specialization and efficiency. Asterisk creates interdependence and social cohesion. Asterisk brings moral and institutional development. Asterisk essential for complex industrial societies. Conclusion. Émile Durkheim's contributions shaped sociology into a systematic, scientific field. His theory of division of labor explains how modern societies achieve cohesion despite increasing individualism and specialization. His ideas on social facts, solidarity, religion, and suicide remain foundational, solidifying his place as a central figure in classical sociology. 28 Karl Marx, Contributions to Sociology, Theory of Social Conflict and Class. Introduction. Karl Marx, 1818–1883, is one of the most influential sociologists and social theorists. His ideas laid the foundation for conflict theory and shaped modern studies of class, inequality, capitalism, and power. Marx viewed society as fundamentally divided by economic interests and argued that social change occurs through conflict between competing social classes. His work continues to influence sociology, economics, political science, and law. 1 Contributions of Karl Marx to Sociology. A materialist interpretation of history, historical materialism. Marx argued that the economic structure, mode of production, forms the foundation of society, while social institutions, law, religion, politics, family form a superstructure. Changes in the economic base lead to changes in the entire social structure. B. Class analysis. Marx introduced the idea that society is divided into classes based on their relationship to the means of production. He emphasized exploitation of labor and the role of class struggle in shaping history. C. Theory of capitalism. Marx provided a scientific critique of capitalism, identifying how capitalists extract surplus value from workers, leading to poverty, inequality, and alienation. D. Concept of alienation. Workers become alienated from their labor, product, fellow workers, and human potential under capitalism. This concept is central to understanding modern work and social dissatisfaction. E. Ideology and false consciousness. Marx argued that ruling classes use ideology, media, education, religion, law, to justify inequality. This prevents workers from recognizing their exploitation. F. Revolutionary social change. Marx believed that class struggle leads to revolution and transformation of society. His ideas influenced labor movements, welfare reforms, and sociological studies of social change. 2. Marx's theory of social conflict. Marx's conflict theory is based on the idea that society is not harmonious but composed of groups with opposing interests. A basis of conflict. The main source of conflict is economic inequality. Capitalist society is divided into * bourgeoisie, owners of means of production. * proletariat, workers who sell labor. The bourgeoisie exploit workers by extracting surplus value, creating constant tension. B. Nature of conflict. Conflict is inevitable because the interests of the two classes are contradictory. Workers want higher wages, capitalists want higher profits. See outcome of conflict. Marx believed conflict would lead to * workers' awareness, class consciousness. * overthrow of capitalism. * establishment of a classless society. Thus, conflict is the driving force of historical change. History is the history of class struggles. 3. Marxian understanding of class and conflict. A class based on economic relations. Marx defined class not by income but by relationship to the means of production. Classes have * common economic interests. * similar life chances. * similar political and social positions. B. Class consciousness. Workers must become aware of their exploitation to unite and resist. When awareness develops, conflict transforms into collective action. See class struggle. Marx believed social change occurs through struggle between * exploiters versus exploited. * owners versus workers. * privileged versus oppressed. Examples include labor strikes, protests, union movements, and revolutions. D. End of class conflict. Marx envisioned that continuous conflict would eventually destroy capitalism and lead to a classless, egalitarian society. Conclusion. Karl Marx made foundational contributions to sociology by developing historical materialism, class analysis, conflict theory, and his critique of capitalism. His theory of social conflict and understanding of class remain central to sociological analysis of inequality and power. Marx's ideas explain why conflict is inherent in society and how it leads to major social transformations. 29. Weber's definition of sociology, his contributions, and the concept of social action. Introduction. Max Weber, 1864–1920, is considered one of the founding fathers of sociology. He contributed significantly to sociological theory through his analysis of social action, authority, bureaucracy, religion, capitalism, and methodology. Weber believed that society cannot be understood only through external observation. Instead, we must understand the meaning individuals attach to their actions. His approach is known as interpretative sociology. Weber's definition of sociology. Weber defines sociology as a science which attempts the interpretative understanding of social action in order thereby to arrive at a causal explanation of its course and effects. This definition highlights two important points. 1. Interpretation, Verstehen. Sociology must understand the subjective meaning individuals attach to their actions. 2. Causal explanation. After understanding meaning, sociology must explain how and why certain social actions produce specific outcomes. Thus, Weber saw sociology as a science of meaningful social action, not merely the study of institutions or structures. Contributions of Max Weber to sociology. 1. Social action theory. Weber developed a detailed theory of social action, explaining how individuals act based on meanings, motives, and expectations. This forms the basis of interpretative sociology. 2. Types of authority. Weber identified 3 legitimate forms of authority. * Traditional authority, based on customs. * Charismatic authority, based on personal qualities of a leader. * Legal rational authority, based on rules and laws. This classification is essential for understanding power, governance, and political systems. 3. Bureaucracy. Weber presented the ideal type of bureaucracy with features like hierarchy, rules, specialization, and impersonality. His analysis helps in studying modern organizations, government, and administration. 4. Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. Weber argued that Protestant values such as discipline, hard work, and frugality contributed to the rise of capitalism. This work showed how religion can influence economic behavior. 5. Methodological contributions. Weber introduced * ideal types, analytical models used for comparison. * Verstehen, interpretative understanding. * a value-neutral approach to sociology. These shaped modern sociological research. 6. Study of class, status, and party. Unlike Marx, Weber argued that inequality is multidimensional. * class equals economic position. * status equals social prestige. * party equals political power. This broadened the study of social stratification. Concept of social action. According to Weber, social action is any action carried out by an individual that takes into account the behavior of others and is oriented by meaning. Not all actions are social. For example, sneezing is not social, but greeting someone is, because it carries meaning and is directed toward others. Types of social action. 1. Rational instrumental action, SYBALLB. Action based on calculation of means and ends. Example, studying to get a job. 2. Value rational action, word rational. Action guided by values or beliefs. Example, donating money out of religious duty. 3. Affective action. Action guided by emotions. Example, expressing anger or affection. 4. Traditional action. Action based on habit or customs. Example, celebrating festivals because it is tradition. These categories help sociologists understand how motives guide human behavior. Conclusion. Max Weber's definition of sociology emphasized meaningful social action and interpretative understanding. His contributions social action theory, authority types, bureaucracy, and methodology shaped modern sociology. Weber's concept of social action remains central to analyzing why individuals behave as they do and how their actions shape society. 30 Contributions of Herbert Spencer to Sociology and State Evolution. Introduction. Herbert Spencer, 1820–1903, was an English sociologist and philosopher who played a major role in shaping early sociology. Influenced by Darwinian ideas, Spencer viewed society as an organism and believed social institutions evolve through natural processes. His work contributed significantly to sociological theory, social evolution, and political thought, especially the evolution of the state. Contributions of Herbert Spencer to Sociology. 1. Organic theory of society. Spencer compared society to a living organism. Just as organs, heart, lungs, brain, work together to maintain the human body, different institutions, family, economy, government, work together to maintain society. This analogy helped establish structural functionalism, a key sociological perspective. 2. Theory of social evolution. Spencer applied the principles of biological evolution to society. He argued that societies evolve from homogeneity to heterogeneity, simple to complex, militaristic to industrial forms. According to Spencer, social progress is natural and gradual, led by competition and adaptation. 3. Survival of the fittest. Spencer coined the famous phrase survival of the fittest, not Darwin. He believed individuals and societies successful in adapting to their environment survive and progress. Although controversial, this idea influenced social Darwinism and theories of competition and inequality. 4. Individualism and laissez-faire. Spencer supported minimal state interference, believing that excessive government control interrupts natural social evolution. He advocated for individual freedom, voluntary cooperation, and free competition. 5. Classification of societies. Spencer classified societies into militant societies, highly regulated, compulsory cooperation, strong government control. Industrial societies, based on voluntary cooperation, freedom, and economic exchange. This classification helped sociologists understand political and economic transformation. 6. Contribution to methodology. Spencer introduced comparative and historical methods in sociology, studying various societies to identify evolutionary patterns. Spencer's theory of state evolution. Herbert Spencer argued that the state evolves gradually, just like organisms do, through natural processes. His theory can be understood through several stages. 1. Origin in warfare. Spencer believed early states emerged from conquest and war. Strong tribes defeated weaker ones and established authority. Thus, the earliest form of state was militant and coercive. 2. Militaristic state, compulsory cooperation. Features include centralized power, strict discipline, compulsory obedience, limited personal freedoms, collective goals such as defense. This form of state prioritizes survival and protection. 3. Transition through social evolution. As societies grow in population, technology, and complexity, they move toward economic cooperation rather than military control. 4. Industrial state, voluntary cooperation. Spencer believed the most advanced stage is the industrial state, characterized by voluntary cooperation, individual freedom, minimal state interference, focus on trade, production, and economic growth. Here, the state shifts from controlling society to protecting rights, maintaining law and order, and ensuring justice. 5. Progressive decline of coercion. As societies become more industrial and democratic, the coercive functions of the state reduce. Instead, the state becomes a facilitator of social welfare and economic cooperation. Conclusion. Herbert Spencer made foundational contributions to sociology through his organic analogy, evolutionary theory, individualism, and classification of societies. His theory of state evolution from militant to industrial explains how political institutions develop with changing social needs. Despite criticisms, Spencer's ideas continue to influence sociological and political analysis, establishing him as a key classical thinker. 31. Cooley's contributions to modern sociology. Introduction. Charles Horton Cooley, 1864–1929, was an American sociologist and one of the key figures of the symbolic interactionist tradition. His ideas emphasized the importance of social interaction, communication, and the development of the self through society. Cooley's work greatly influenced modern sociology, especially in understanding personality formation, primary groups, and social processes. 1. The concept of the looking-glass self. Cooley's most famous contribution is the idea of the looking-glass self, which explains how individuals develop their self-identity through interactions with others. According to Cooley, the self emerges from 3 steps. 1. We imagine how we appear to others. 2. We imagine how others judge our appearance. 3. We develop feelings about ourselves based on these imagined judgments. This shows that the self is not isolated or biological but deeply social. Modern studies on self-esteem, social identity, and behavior draw heavily from this concept. 2. Primary groups. Cooley introduced the term primary groups, the most intimate and influential groups in an individual's life. These include family, close friends, neighborhood groups. Characteristics of primary groups include close contact, emotional ties, cooperation, and long-lasting relationships. Cooley argued that primary groups are essential for moral development, social integration, and cultural transmission. This idea is foundational to microsociology and social psychology. 3. Emphasis on social interaction, symbolic interactionism. Cooley's work laid the foundation for symbolic interactionism, later developed by Mead and Bloomer. He believed society is not a structure but an ongoing process of interactions where individuals interpret symbols, gestures, and meanings. This perspective is central to modern sociological research on communication, identity, and socialization. 4. Connection between individual and society. Cooley criticized the separation of society and individual. He proposed that the two are inseparable. The individual is a social being, and society is an enlarged individual. This holistic view highlights that human behavior can only be understood within its social context. His ideas influenced modern theories of social behavior, group dynamics, and collective life. 5. Socialization and personality development. Cooley emphasized early childhood experiences and primary relationships in shaping personality. He argued that socialization is a continuous process in which individuals learn values, norms, and roles. This greatly contributes to modern sociological studies on child development, family structures, and education. 6. Public opinion and social control. Cooley studied how public opinion shapes individual behavior and maintains social control. He believed that communication, discussion, and shared beliefs are essential for democratic societies. Modern mass media studies, political sociology, and public discourse research use Cooley's insights. 7. Methodological contributions. Cooley supported qualitative methods, such as introspection, observation, and case studies, insisting that social realities must be understood from the inside. His humanistic and interpretative approach influenced contemporary sociological research methods. Conclusion. Cooley's contributions transformed modern sociology by highlighting the central role of interaction, communication, identity formation, and primary groups. His concepts, especially the looking-glass self and primary groups, remain essential for understanding socialization and personal development. Through his work, Cooley helped establish sociology as a discipline focused not only on institutions but also on everyday human experiences. 32 Contributions of Talcott Parsons. Introduction. Talcott Parsons, 1902–1979, was an American sociologist and one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century. He developed a comprehensive theoretical framework known as structural functionalism, which explains how social systems maintain order, stability, and integration. His work emphasized the importance of social roles, institutions, norms, and values in maintaining the smooth functioning of society. Parsons is considered a central figure in modern sociological theory. 1. Structural functional theory. Parsons argued that society is a system composed of interrelated parts, institutions. Each part performs functions that contribute to the stability of the whole. Key points. Society seeks equilibrium. Institutions like family, law, economy, and education play functional roles. Social order is maintained through shared values, value consensus. This theory shaped the direction of sociology for decades. 2. The AGIL model, functional imperatives. One of Parsons' most important contributions is the AGIL framework, which explains the 4 basic functions any social system must perform to survive. A. Adaptation. The system must adapt to its environment, handled by economy. G. Goal attainment. The system must set goals and achieve them, performed by political institutions. I. Integration. Coordination and regulation of the different parts, done through law, religion, and norms. L. Latency, pattern maintenance. Preserving cultural patterns, values, and motivation, handled by family and education. This model helps sociologists understand how complex societies function. 3. Theory of social action. Parsons built on Weber's ideas and developed a general theory of social action. He argued that action has an actor, an objective, normative standards, and a social situation. His emphasis on norms and values guiding action influenced later theories of social behavior. 4. Pattern variables. Parsons introduced pattern variables, which represent choices individuals make in social interactions. They include affectivity versus affective neutrality, universalism versus particularism, ascription versus achievement, specificity versus diffuseness, collectivity versus self-orientation. These help explain how individuals behave in different institutional settings. 5. Analysis of family and kinship. Parsons highlighted the role of the nuclear family in modern industrial societies. According to him, family performs 2 key functions. O. Socialization of children. O. Stabilization of adult personality. This shaped sociological studies on family. 6. Role of education. Parsons viewed education as a bridge between family and society. It performs value transmission, skill development, merit-based selection, role allocation. His work contributed greatly to the sociology of education. 7. Contributions to medical sociology. Parsons introduced the concept of the sick role, explaining how illness is not only biological but also a social role with rights and obligations. This remains foundational in medical sociology. Conclusion. Talcott Parsons played a central role in shaping modern sociological theory. His structural functional framework, AGIL model, social action theory, and analysis of institutions provided a systematic understanding of how societies function, maintain order, and adapt to change. Although later criticized for focusing too much on stability, Parsons' contributions remain deeply influential in the study of social systems and institutions. 33. Importance of religion and theories of religion. Introduction. Religion is a universal social institution found in every known society. It includes beliefs, rituals, sacred symbols, moral values, and practices that bind individuals together. Beyond spirituality, religion influences law, politics, culture, and social behavior. Sociologists have developed various theories to explain the origin, function, and meaning of religion in society. Importance of religion. 1. Provides meaning and purpose. Religion offers explanations for life, death, suffering, and moral questions. It gives individuals emotional comfort and a sense of direction. 2. Promotes social cohesion. Religion creates shared beliefs and rituals that strengthen collective identity. Festivals, ceremonies, and worship bring people together, reinforcing unity and solidarity. 3. Source of moral and ethical guidance. Religious teachings shape ideas of right and wrong, influencing personal behavior and social norms. Many legal systems are historically rooted in moral codes of religion. 4. Psychological support. In times of crisis, loss, or uncertainty, religion provides hope, emotional strength, and resilience. It helps individuals cope with stress and anxiety. 5. Social control. Religious norms regulate behavior through moral codes, rewards, and fear of punishment, divine or social. This reduces deviance and supports social order. 6. Cultural preservation. Religion preserves traditions, rituals, language, and cultural heritage. Sacred texts, art, music, and architecture reflect the identity of a community. 7. Influence on social institutions. Religion shapes family roles, marriage rules, education, law, and politics. Many social reforms, such as abolition of slavery or movements for justice, originated in religious thought. 8. Social change and reform. Religious leaders and movements, example Buddha, Gandhi, have often challenged injustice, caste inequality, and violence, promoting social transformation. Theories of religion. 1. Functionalist theory, Émile Durkheim. Durkheim viewed religion as a source of social cohesion. Key ideas. Religion creates a distinction between sacred and profane. Rituals strengthen group solidarity. Religious symbols represent society itself, society worships itself. Religion is essential for moral order. Thus, religion is functional because it integrates people. 2. Psychological theory, William James. James emphasized the individual psychological experience of religion. According to him, religion satisfies emotional needs. It helps individuals cope with fear, suffering, and uncertainty. Personal religious experiences shape faith and behavior. This theory highlights the emotional and subjective importance of religion. 3. Marxian, conflict, theory of religion. Karl Marx saw religion as an instrument of social control and exploitation. Key ideas. Religion is the opium of the people. It justifies inequality by promising rewards in the afterlife. Ruling classes use religion to maintain power. Religion prevents workers from developing class consciousness. Thus, Marx viewed religion as maintaining social inequality. 4. Weber's theory of religion. Max Weber focused on the relationship between religion and social change. In The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, he argued. Protestant values like discipline, hard work, and frugality promoted capitalism. Religion can act as a force of modernization and economic development. Weber highlighted religion's transformative power. Conclusion. Religion plays a vital role in providing meaning, moral guidance, social cohesion, and cultural continuity. Sociological theories functional, psychological, conflict, and Weberian explain religion from different perspectives, showing its power to maintain social order, influence behavior, and promote change. Religion, therefore, remains a deeply significant and multifaceted institution in society. 34 Problems faced by tribal and rural communities and suggested remedies. Introduction. Tribal and rural communities constitute a significant part of India's population. These communities are closely connected to natural resources, traditional occupations, and indigenous cultures. However, due to socio-economic inequalities, limited access to modern facilities, and historical marginalization, they continue to face severe developmental challenges. Understanding their problems is essential for ensuring inclusive growth and social justice. Problems faced by tribal communities. 1. Land alienation and displacement. Tribal people often lose their land due to mining, industrial projects, forest laws, and infrastructure development. Displacement results in loss of livelihood, cultural identity, and food security. 2. Poverty and economic backwardness. Most tribal communities depend on agriculture, forest produce, and wage labor. Low productivity, lack of irrigation, and restricted forest access keep them in poverty. 3. Illiteracy and educational barriers. High dropout rates, lack of schools, shortage of teachers, and language barriers affect educational attainment in tribal areas. 4. Health problems. Malnutrition, high infant mortality, lack of health centers, traditional illnesses, and poor sanitation make tribal communities vulnerable to diseases. 5. Social exclusion and exploitation. Tribal communities often face exploitation by contractors, moneylenders, and middlemen. They also suffer cultural discrimination and limited political representation. 6. Alcoholism and social issues. In some tribal regions, alcoholism, superstitions, and internal conflicts weaken social structures and development. Problems faced by rural communities. 1. Agricultural distress. Most rural families depend on agriculture, but face issues like small land holdings, monsoon dependency, lack of credit, low MSP, soil degradation, and crop failures. 2. Unemployment and underemployment. Seasonal work, lack of industries, and low skill levels force youth to migrate to cities for low-paying jobs. 3. Poor infrastructure. Rural areas suffer from inadequate roads, electricity, drinking water, sanitation, and transport facilities, affecting quality of life. 4. Health and sanitation issues. Shortage of hospitals, doctors, and awareness leads to preventable diseases. Poor sanitation and open defecation contribute to health hazards. 5. Illiteracy and gender inequality. Limited educational institutions, high female dropout rates, early marriage, and conservative attitudes hinder social progress. Suggested remedies. 1. Land reforms and legal protection. Implementation of laws like the Forest Rights Act, FRA, prevention of land alienation, and ensuring land titles for tribal families. 2. Strengthening education. Establishing residential schools, local language instruction, scholarships, and vocational training in rural and tribal regions. 3. Improving healthcare. Mobile health units, more PHCs, nutrition programs, awareness on hygiene, and training local health workers. 4. Economic empowerment. Providing microcredit, promoting self-help groups, encouraging handicrafts, agro-based industries, and sustainable agriculture. 5. Infrastructure development. Better roads, electricity, internet connectivity, clean water, and sanitation facilities through government schemes. 6. Social awareness and community participation. Awareness programs on rights, gender equality, addiction prevention, and involving local leaders in decision-making. 7. Effective implementation of welfare schemes. Ensuring tribal and rural communities benefit from NREGA, PDS, PM Kisan, NRLM, and housing programs. Conclusion. Tribal and rural communities face complex socio-economic challenges rooted in historical injustice, poor infrastructure, and lack of educational and health facilities. Comprehensive reforms focused on empowerment, education, livelihood opportunities, and legal protection are essential to ensure their holistic development. Sustainable and inclusive policies can help these communities achieve dignity, opportunity, and social justice. Situational questions. Question 1. India is becoming a destination of mob lynching. A. Is it true? Discuss. B. Suggest remedial measures. A. Is it true? Discussion. Key issue. The central issue is the rise of mob-led violence in India, where groups take the law into their own hands and target individuals based on rumors, communal tension, or moral vigilantism. Concept/theory applied. The situation is linked to concepts of breakdown of rule of law, social disorder, and collective behavior in sociology and political science. It also reflects the weakening of formal institutions responsible for justice and conflict resolution. Reasoning. This framework applies because mob lynching typically occurs when legal systems are perceived as slow or ineffective, giving space for crowds to act impulsively. The spread of misinformation through social media further amplifies fear, anger, and group conformity, making collective violence more likely. Although India is not defined solely by such incidents, the increasing frequency and visibility of cases suggest a concerning pattern that demands attention. B. Remedial measures. Solutions with justification. 1. Strengthening law enforcement. Visible, timely action deters groups from taking unlawful steps. 2. Fast-track courts for mob violence. Swift justice reduces the belief that mobs can act without consequences. 3. Regulation of misinformation. Monitoring and penalizing the spread of fake news can prevent panic-driven attacks. 4. Community awareness programs. Educating citizens on consequences of mob behavior promotes responsible civic conduct. 5. Political and administrative accountability. Ensuring neutrality and strict action against instigators reinforces public trust in institutions. Question 2. It is estimated that by 2025 India will be the most populated country in the world. A. Discuss the causes and consequences of population growth. B. Suggest remedial measures. A. Causes and consequences of population growth. Key issue. India is experiencing rapid demographic expansion, creating pressure on resources, governance, and development systems. Causes. 1. High fertility rates in several regions due to socio-cultural norms. 2. Early marriage and limited reproductive health awareness. 3. Decline in death rates because of improved healthcare and life expectancy. 4. Poverty and lack of education, which often correlate with larger family size. 5. Improved food security and reduced infant mortality, encouraging population survival. Consequences: 1. Resource strain on land, water, housing, and public services. 2. Unemployment and underemployment, particularly among youth. 3. Pressure on education and healthcare systems, reducing quality of service delivery. 4. Environmental degradation, including deforestation and pollution. 5. Urban congestion due to migration towards cities, causing slums and infrastructural stress. B. Remedial measures. Solutions with justification. 1. Strengthening family planning programs. Wider access to contraception and counseling helps couples make informed choices. 2. Promoting female education and empowerment. Educated women tend to delay marriage and have fewer children. 3. Raising awareness on reproductive health. Community-based outreach improves understanding of small family norms. 4. Discouraging early marriage. Strict enforcement of legal age laws reduces early childbearing. 5. Economic development and poverty reduction. Improved livelihood opportunities naturally reduce dependence on large families. 6. Balanced regional development. Reduces migration pressure and allows better population distribution. Question 3. Gender bias is seen even in literate society. A. Fields of gender inequality. B. Measures to promote women empowerment. A. Fields of gender inequality. Key issue: despite rising literacy, women continue to face unequal opportunities and treatment across multiple social, economic, and political spheres. Major fields: 1. Education. Girls often receive less encouragement for higher education, particularly in STEM fields. 2. Employment. Women face wage gaps, fewer leadership roles, and occupational segregation. 3. Household and family. Disproportionate burden of domestic work and limited decision-making power. 4. Health and nutrition. Preference for male children leads to neglect of female health needs and poor nutritional access. 5. Property and inheritance. Women often receive unequal or denied rights in land and property ownership. 6. Political participation. Lower representation in legislative bodies and lack of visibility in decision-making positions. 7. Safety and mobility. Harassment, violence, and lack of safe public spaces restrict mobility and freedom. B. Measures to promote women empowerment. Solutions with justification. 1. Education and skill development, ensures economic independence and expands career opportunities. 2. Strict enforcement of gender laws. Laws against dowry, domestic violence, and workplace harassment must be implemented effectively. 3. Economic inclusion. Access to credit, entrepreneurship schemes, and equal wages increases financial autonomy. 4. Political representation. Reservation of seats and leadership training enhances participation in governance. 5. Awareness and attitude change. Community campaigns and school curriculum reforms can challenge patriarchal stereotypes. 6. Safety measures. Improved policing, fast-track courts, and safe public transport encourage freedom of movement. 7. Supportive infrastructure. Child care facilities, maternity benefits, and flexible work policies enable work-life balance. Question 4. Case: crackers ban and conflict of religious sentiments. Discuss. Celebrations and environment. Role of socialization agencies. Discussion. Key issue: the debate around banning firecrackers reflects a clash between traditional festive practices and the urgent need to control pollution. It raises questions about balancing cultural freedom with environmental responsibility. Celebrations and environment. Festivals in India often involve practices like bursting crackers, which many communities view as an expression of joy and religious identity. However, the environmental effects, air pollution, noise pollution, health hazards, and ecological stress have become increasingly severe. Rising awareness of climate change and public health concerns has pushed authorities to regulate or restrict cracker usage. Thus, the challenge lies in respecting cultural sentiments while promoting sustainable celebrations. Many people now opt for eco-friendly alternatives, showing that festivities can continue without harming the environment. Role of socialization agencies. Family shapes children's attitudes towards celebrations, teaching either responsible behavior or excessive indulgence. School instills environmental values through curriculum and awareness campaigns. Media influences public opinion by highlighting pollution levels, health risks, and sustainable practices. Religious institutions can reinterpret traditions, encouraging symbolic or eco-friendly rituals instead of polluting ones. Government creates laws, regulations, and campaigns that guide citizens toward environmentally conscious behavior. Together, these agencies help society shift from harmful practices to environmentally responsible celebrations without undermining cultural identity. Question 5. Dalit man beaten in Gujarat Gabra event. Discuss. Are we caste-free? Factors causing change in the caste system. Discussion. Key issue. The incident of a Dalit man being assaulted during a Gabra event reveals the persistence of caste-based discrimination despite legal protections and social progress. It reflects a gap between constitutional ideals and ground-level social realities. Are we caste-free? India has made significant strides toward equality through constitutional safeguards, education, urbanization, and economic mobility. However, social practices and attitudes in many regions still reflect caste prejudice. Incidents of violence, exclusion from cultural spaces, restrictions on intercaste marriage, and everyday discriminatory behavior show that caste continues to influence social interactions. While legal structures promote equality, social acceptance and behavioral change are slower. Thus, India is not fully caste-free, though meaningful progress is visible. Factors causing change in the caste system. 1. Education promotes rational thinking, reduces blind adherence to hierarchy, and encourages equality. 2. Urbanization, mixed neighborhoods and occupational diversity weaken traditional caste boundaries. 3. Economic development, new jobs and market-based professions reduce dependence on caste-based occupations. 4. Political mobilization, reservation policies and political representation empower marginalized groups. 5. Social reform movements, leaders and organizations challenge caste oppression and promote human rights. 6. Media and communication, exposure to diverse lifestyles weakens rigid social norms. 7. Legal safeguards, anti-discrimination laws discourage caste-based practices and punish offenders. Question 6. Rise of polyamorous relationships. Reasons for change in the marriage institution. Deterministic/cyclic theories of social change. Discussion. Key issue. The increasing visibility of polyamorous relationships reflects shifts in personal values, autonomy, and societal norms related to intimacy and commitment. It highlights how the traditional marriage institution is undergoing transformation. Reasons for change in the marriage institution. 1. Individualism and personal autonomy. Modern society emphasizes self-expression and personal choice, reducing the rigidity of traditional marital norms. 2. Changing gender roles. Women's education and economic independence have reshaped expectations within marriage, leading people to explore alternative relationship models. 3. Urbanization and exposure to diverse lifestyles. Cities provide anonymity and access to varied ideas, weakening traditional restrictions on relationships. 4. Technological influence. Social media and dating platforms expand opportunities for connection, normalizing non-traditional forms of intimacy. 5. Decline of social control. Reduced influence of family, religion, and community allows individuals to redefine relationships on their own terms. 6. Emphasis on emotional compatibility. People seek emotional fulfillment, leading some to prefer flexible arrangements rather than lifelong monogamy. Deterministic and cyclic theories of social change. Deterministic theories. These theories argue that social change is driven by definite, identifiable forces such as economic development, marks, technology, urban environment, or demographic conditions. According to this view, shifts in marriage patterns like polyamory stem from broader structural changes such as modernization, economic independence, and technological advancement. Cyclic theories. Cyclic theories, Toynbee, Spengler, Sorokin, propose that societies evolve in recurring phases of growth, peak, decline, and renewal. Institutions like marriage move through cycles, strict and stable in one phase, flexible or declining in another. The rise of alternative relationships can be seen as part of a cultural cycle where values shift from traditional to permissive, and may shift again in the future. Question 7. Social media as an agent of change. Impact on rural areas. Discussion. Social media as an agent of change. Social media has emerged as a powerful modern force shaping ideas, behavior, and social relations. It connects individuals across boundaries, accelerates information flow, and challenges traditional norms. As an agent of change, it influences public opinion, mobilizes communities, spreads awareness, and exposes people to new lifestyles and opportunities. It often weakens rigid social controls by encouraging dialogue, debate, and interaction between diverse groups. By making information more democratic, social media contributes significantly to cultural, economic, and political transformation. Impact on rural areas. 1. Access to information. Rural populations gain awareness about government schemes, health practices, education opportunities, and market trends. 2. Agricultural benefits. Farmers use social media for weather updates, crop advice, and direct market connections, improving productivity and income. 3. Social awareness. Issues like gender equality, cleanliness, and digital literacy spread quickly, challenging traditional stereotypes. 4. Economic opportunities. Online platforms support small businesses, handicrafts, and local services by helping rural entrepreneurs reach wider markets. 5. Political participation. Villagers stay updated on policies and elections, strengthening democratic engagement. 6. Cultural exchange. Exposure to diverse cultures influences aspirations related to career, lifestyle, and mobility. 7. Reduction of isolation. Improved connectivity reduces rural-urban divides and promotes social inclusion. Question 8. 2016 caste discrimination case, children refuse food. Practice of purity and pollution. Discussion. Key issue. The 2016 incident, where school children refused to eat midday meals prepared by a Dalit cook, highlights the persistence of caste-based discrimination in everyday social settings. It shows how deep-rooted beliefs continue to influence behavior even among younger generations. Practice of purity and pollution. The refusal to eat food reflects the traditional caste practice of purity and pollution, a concept central to the hierarchical structure of the caste system. Core ideas. 1. Notions of ritual purity. Higher castes believe contact with certain groups or substances renders them impure. 2. Food restrictions. Food prepared or handled by lower castes is often considered polluting, reinforcing social distance. 3. Occupational hierarchy. Castes associated with occupations involving bodily fluids, dead animals, or sanitation work are labeled polluting. 4. Segregation in social life. Eating together, sharing utensils, or accepting cooked food becomes a marker of caste boundary maintenance. Relevance to the incident. The refusal of food by children demonstrates how caste values and prejudices are transmitted through families and communities. It shows that despite legal protection and educational initiatives, traditional ideas about purity continue to shape social interaction. Wider implications. Asterisk reinforces inequality and social exclusion. Asterisk prevents true integration in schools and public institutions. Asterisk undermines constitutional values of equality and dignity. Question 9. Caste discrimination and its effects. Caste discrimination. Caste discrimination refers to unfair treatment, exclusion, or unequal opportunities based on one's caste hierarchy. Despite legal safeguards, caste continues to influence access to resources, social relations, and life chances. Discrimination may appear in forms such as segregation in villages, untouchability practices, biased behavior in schools, workplace exclusion, and violence against marginalized groups. Effects of caste discrimination. 1. Social exclusion. Marginalized castes are denied entry into common spaces such as temples, wells, schools, or neighborhoods, leading to isolation and humiliation. 2. Educational inequality. Children from oppressed castes face bullying, teacher bias, or lack of encouragement, affecting attendance, performance, and dropout rates. 3. Economic inequality. Limited access to skilled jobs, land ownership, and credit keeps lower castes trapped in poverty and manual labor occupations. 4. Psychological impact. Continuous discrimination leads to low self-esteem, trauma, fear, and loss of dignity. 5. Violence and atrocities. Incidents of assault, honor killings, and social boycotts reinforce caste dominance and suppress mobility. 6. Political marginalization. Dominant castes may control local institutions, restricting the participation and voice of marginalized communities. 7. Hindrance to social development. Caste barriers limit social mobility, weaken national unity, and obstruct democratic values. Question 10. Blue whale game, societal challenges. Technology as a bane? Discussion. Societal challenges highlighted by the blue whale game. The blue whale game, which reportedly encouraged self-harm among vulnerable youth, brought attention to several urgent social issues. It exposed the emotional fragility of adolescents, the lack of mental health awareness, and gaps in parental supervision. The incident revealed how isolation, peer pressure, and digital addiction can push young people toward dangerous online activities. It also showed that many families and educational institutions struggle to identify early signs of distress. The challenge, therefore, lies not only in controlling harmful digital content but also in strengthening social support systems for young people. Technology as a bane? Technology offers many benefits, but the blue whale case illustrates how it can become harmful when misused. Key concerns. 1. Easy spread of harmful content. Online platforms allow dangerous games, misinformation, and violent challenges to reach large audiences, especially minors. 2. Privacy and monitoring issues. Parents and teachers often cannot track online behavior, giving harmful content space to influence children. 3. Addiction and dependency. Excessive screen time reduces real-life interactions and increases vulnerability to manipulation. 4. Mental health impact. Exposure to negative digital environments may worsen anxiety, depression, and social withdrawal. 5. Cybercrime and exploitation. Predators or anonymous groups can coerce vulnerable individuals into unsafe acts. Conclusion. Technology is not inherently a bane, but its negative impact emerges when digital literacy is low, regulation is weak, and vulnerable individuals lack emotional support. Responsible use, awareness, and monitoring are essential to prevent such incidents. Question 11. #MeToo spread virally in October 2017 as a hashtag used on social media to highlight sexual assault and harassment women face at workplaces. Discuss. A. Role of mass media, in this context, in creating awareness and bringing social change. B. What are the other forms of discrimination that women face at their workplace? A. Role of mass media in creating awareness and bringing social change. Mass media played a crucial role in amplifying the #MeToo movement by giving visibility to women's experiences of harassment across industries. Social media platforms allowed survivors to share their stories instantly, breaking the silence that had surrounded workplace harassment for decades. News channels, websites, and newspapers brought these issues into mainstream discussion, challenging institutions to respond. Media exposure also pressured companies to review their internal policies, initiate inquiries, and hold perpetrators accountable. The movement created a cultural shift where victims felt empowered to speak out, reducing stigma and fear. By sustaining public dialogue, mass media helped transform sexual harassment from an individual issue into a structural and societal concern, pushing for long-term reforms in workplace behavior, gender sensitivity, and legal compliance. B. Other forms of discrimination faced by women at the workplace. 1. Gender pay gap. Women often receive lower wages than men for the same work. 2. Glass ceiling. They face barriers in accessing leadership or decision-making positions. 3. Occupational segregation. Women are concentrated in low-paid, low-status jobs. 4. Stereotyping and bias. Assumptions about women's abilities limit opportunities and promotions. 5. Work-life balance pressure. Maternity responsibilities, lack of childcare support, and unequal household roles affect career growth. 6. Lack of safety, inadequate grievance redressal mechanisms and unsafe working environments persist. 7. Exclusion from informal networks. Male-dominated professional groups often influence promotions and opportunities, leaving women out. Question 12. Sabrimala temple issue. Should women of all ages be allowed to enter? Apply. A. The conflict and feminist perspectives. B. The culture lag theory and the manifest, latent, and dysfunctions of religion to the issue. A. Conflict and feminist perspectives. Conflict perspective. The conflict perspective views the Sabrimala issue as a struggle between dominant and subordinate groups. Entry restrictions on women reflect how religious institutions maintain power hierarchies by controlling access to sacred spaces. The opposition to women's entry symbolizes the attempt of traditional elites to preserve authority, norms, and status. The Supreme Court verdict allowing entry challenges this domination and redistributes religious rights more equally. The conflict arises because any change in traditional authority threatens existing power relations. Feminist perspective. From a feminist lens, restricting women from entering the temple is a clear case of gender discrimination justified in the name of tradition. The ban reinforces patriarchal control over women's bodies and mobility, presenting them as impure during menstruation. Feminists argue that religion should not serve as a tool to limit women's rights. Allowing women of all ages into Sabrimala represents a step toward bodily autonomy, equality, and dismantling patriarchal norms embedded in religious practices. B. Culture lag theory and functions of religion. Culture lag theory. Culture lag occurs when material changes, laws, technology, education, evolve faster than non-material culture, beliefs and traditions. In this case, legal reforms and constitutional values supporting gender equality have advanced, but traditional beliefs regarding purity and menstruation remain unchanged for many. This gap creates tension, resistance, and social conflict as society struggles to adapt cultural beliefs to modern principles of equality. Manifest, latent, and dysfunctional functions of religion. Manifest functions. * Promoting spiritual discipline, pilgrimage, and devotion to the deity. * Preserving ritual practices and community identity. Latent functions. * Strengthening social bonds among devotees. * Creating economic activity through tourism and temple-related services. * Reinforcing group solidarity within traditional communities. Dysfunctions. * Exclusion of women leads to discrimination and social inequality. * Conflicts between legal institutions and religious communities increase polarization. * Misuse of religion to justify patriarchal norms weakens social harmony. * Resistance to reform slows societal progress and deepens cultural divides. Question 13. Rate of rape is at an all-time high. A. What according to you is the cause? B. Why are rape conviction rates low? A. Causes of the rising rate of rape. 1. Patriarchal mindset. Deep-rooted gender inequality, objectification of women, and beliefs about male dominance normalize aggressive behavior toward women. 2. Poor socialization. Families often fail to teach boys about consent, respect, and emotional control. Gender stereotypes reinforced at home and in society contribute to toxic behaviors. 3. Lack of sex education. Absence of awareness about consent, boundaries, and healthy relationships leaves adolescents misinformed and vulnerable to harmful attitudes. 4. Misuse of technology. Pornographic content, online harassment, and digital anonymity can promote distorted ideas about sexuality. 5. Alcohol and drug abuse. Substance use increases aggression and reduces self-control, contributing to sexual violence. 6. Weak deterrence. Slow trials, lenient punishments, and ineffective policing reduce fear of consequences, indirectly encouraging crime. B. Reasons for low conviction rates. 1. Delayed reporting. Victims fear stigma, retaliation, or family pressure, resulting in late or no complaints, weakening evidence. 2. Social stigma. Victims face blame and character scrutiny, discouraging them from pursuing the case. 3. Poor investigation. Lack of trained officers, mishandling of evidence, and insensitive police behavior reduce case quality. 4. Slow judicial process. Backlogged courts and repeated hearings prolong cases, exhausting victims emotionally and financially. 5. Intimidation and compromise. Victims or witnesses are threatened, pressured to withdraw, or forced into informal settlements. 6. Legal loopholes and burden of proof. Strict evidence standards and lack of corroboration make it difficult to secure convictions. 7. Victim harassment during trial. Intrusive questioning and societal pressure cause victims to withdraw or become inconsistent. Question 14. Minorities are assets yet suffering. A. Problems faced by minorities. B. Remedial measures. A. Problems faced by minorities. 1. Social discrimination. Minority communities often face prejudice, stereotyping, and exclusion in everyday interactions, which affects their dignity and participation in society. 2. Economic marginalization. Limited access to quality employment, credit, land, and business opportunities keeps many minorities economically vulnerable. 3. Educational barriers. Lower literacy rates, language differences, and inadequate educational facilities in minority-dominated areas hinder upward mobility. 4. Political underrepresentation. Minorities often lack adequate representation in decision-making bodies, which weakens their ability to influence policies affecting them. 5. Cultural suppression. Minority languages, festivals, and traditions may not receive equal recognition, leading to cultural insecurity. 6. Communal violence and insecurity. Minorities may become targets during communal tensions, facing threats to safety, displacement, and trauma. 7. Legal and institutional bias. Bias in policing, judicial processes, and public institutions can make minorities feel alienated from the state. B. Remedial measures. 1. Legal protection and enforcement. Strict implementation of anti-discrimination laws and hate crime provisions ensures equal rights. 2. Educational support. Scholarships, improved schools, language support programs, and targeted educational initiatives can close learning gaps. 3. Economic inclusion. Access to credit, entrepreneurship schemes, skill development programs, and employment opportunities can uplift minority communities. 4. Political empowerment. Encouraging representation through inclusive policies, leadership training, and fair electoral practices strengthens minority voices. 5. Promoting inter-community harmony. Awareness campaigns, dialogue programs, and cultural exchange initiatives reduce prejudice and build trust. 6. Strengthening institutions. Sensitivity training for police, administrators, and service providers ensures unbiased treatment. 7. Protecting culture and identity. Recognizing and supporting minority languages, art forms, and festivals fosters cultural confidence and national unity. Question 15. Child labor in India. A. Fields of exploitation. B. Importance of educational institutions. A. Fields of exploitation. 1. Agriculture. Many children work in farms, plantations, and fields where they are exposed to long hours, hazardous tools, and poor working conditions. 2. Manufacturing and small industries. Children are employed in industries such as carpet weaving, fireworks, biddy rolling, brick kilns, garment units, and pottery. These environments involve harmful chemicals, dust, heat, and repetitive strain. 3. Service sector. Children work as domestic helpers, hotel staff, cleaners, and in roadside eateries. They face exploitation, long working hours, low or no wages, and vulnerability to abuse. 4. Informal sector. Street vending, rag picking, begging, waste collection, and small repairs expose children to unsafe environments, pollution, and exploitation by adults or contractors. 5. Illicit and hazardous activities. Some children are forced into trafficking, bonded labor, drug transport, or other illegal work, putting them at extreme risk physically and emotionally. B. Importance of educational institutions. 1. Breaking the cycle of poverty. Schools provide children with knowledge and skills that enable them to access better jobs, reducing the need for families to depend on child labor income. 2. Protection and safe environment. Educational institutions offer a safe space where children are protected from exploitation, abuse, and hazardous work. 3. Social and emotional development. Schools teach values, discipline, confidence, and social interaction, all of which are essential for a child's overall development. 4. Awareness and empowerment. Education makes children aware of their rights, helping them resist exploitation and demand better opportunities. 5. Reducing illiteracy and ignorance. Educated children grow into informed citizens who can contribute meaningfully to society and challenge harmful practices like child labor. 6. Supportive programs and incentives. Midday meals, scholarships, free textbooks, and uniform schemes encourage school attendance and reduce dropout rates. Question 16. Equal match fees for women cricketers. A. Problems faced by female sportspersons. B. Remedial measures. A. Problems faced by female sportspersons. 1. Gender bias and stereotyping. Women athletes often face societal assumptions that sports are male-dominated, which limits encouragement, recognition, and opportunities. 2. Unequal pay and rewards. Even at professional levels, women receive lower match fees, prize money, sponsorships, and endorsements compared to male athletes. 3. Lack of infrastructure and support. Training facilities, coaching staff, nutrition support, and sports science resources are often inferior for women's teams. 4. Limited media coverage. Women's sports receive minimal coverage, reducing visibility, financial support, and fan engagement. 5. Safety and harassment issues. Female athletes sometimes face unsafe training environments, harassment, and lack of grievance redressal mechanisms. 6. Balancing family and career. Social expectations regarding marriage, caregiving, and domestic roles affect women's participation and long-term sporting careers. 7. Fewer opportunities in grassroots sports. Schools and local clubs often prioritize boys' teams, limiting early exposure for girls. B. Remedial measures. 1. Equal pay and financial support. Ensuring equal match fees, contracts, prize money, and sponsorship opportunities enhances motivation and fairness. 2. Improved infrastructure. Investing in quality training facilities, physiotherapy, nutrition programs, and professional coaching for women's teams. 3. Media promotion. Increasing TV broadcasts, interviews, and coverage of women's sports helps attract fans and sponsors. 4. Strong legal and institutional mechanisms. Strict anti-harassment guidelines and secure reporting systems ensure safe and supportive environments for female athletes. 5. Grassroots development. Encouraging girls' participation through school sports, scholarships, and community programs builds a strong pipeline of talent. 6. Changing social attitudes. Campaigns promoting gender equality in sports can challenge stereotypes and increase family support. 7. Corporate and government schemes. Incentives, awards, and funding programs encourage female athletes to pursue sports professionally. Question 17. Diwali crackers and environment. A. Does crackers ban violate festival rights? B. Role of social agencies in environmental awareness. A. Does a crackers ban violate festival rights? A crackers ban does not fundamentally violate festival rights, because the right to celebrate a festival is subject to public health, safety, and environmental concerns. Festivals are a part of cultural expression, but bursting crackers leads to severe air and noise pollution, respiratory illnesses, harm to animals, and increased waste. The state is responsible for protecting citizens' health, especially vulnerable groups like children, the elderly, and those with respiratory problems. The ban regulates only the harmful form of celebration, not the festival itself. People can still engage in prayers, lighting diyas, family gatherings, and other traditional rituals. Thus, such restrictions aim to balance cultural practices with environmental protection and public welfare. It is a case of ensuring responsible celebration rather than curbing religious freedom. B. Role of social agencies in environmental awareness. 1. Family. Families teach children eco-friendly values, responsible celebration habits, and respect for nature from an early age. 2. Schools and colleges. Educational institutions conduct awareness drives, workshops, and environmental clubs that promote sustainable practices and scientific understanding of pollution. 3. Media. Television, newspapers, and social media highlight pollution levels, health risks, and eco-friendly alternatives. Media campaigns influence public opinion and promote behavioral change. 4. Government. The state enforces environmental regulations, runs cleanliness drives, monitors pollution, and creates large-scale awareness initiatives such as SY BA LL.B and Green Diwali. 5. NGOs and civil society. Environmental groups organize campaigns, tree plantation drives, and community programs to encourage public responsibility and activism. 6. Religious and community organizations. They can reinterpret festival practices in a sustainable manner and encourage communities to adopt eco-friendly celebrations. Question 18. Youth not marrying out of choice. A. Is marriage changing with time? B. Clash between individual choice and culture. A. Is marriage changing with time? Yes, marriage as a social institution is undergoing significant transformation. Earlier, marriage was seen as compulsory, family-decided, and essential for social status and continuity. Today, many young people view marriage as optional and based on emotional compatibility rather than obligation. Economic independence, especially among women, has reduced the pressure to marry early. Urbanization, education, and exposure to diverse lifestyles have encouraged personal freedom and delayed marriages. Cohabitation, love marriages, and choosing to remain single are increasingly accepted. Thus, marriage is shifting from a traditional duty to a personal choice shaped by individual goals, career plans, and lifestyle preferences. B. Clash between individual choice and culture. The decision of youth to postpone or reject marriage often conflicts with traditional expectations. Families and communities may see early marriage as essential for social honor, lineage, and cultural continuity. Individual choices such as prioritizing career, seeking emotional freedom, or rejecting traditional roles can be viewed as disrespect or deviation from norms. This creates generational tensions, pressure, and emotional conflict. Cultural norms emphasize conformity, while modern values stress autonomy and self-fulfillment. As a result, youth struggle between societal approval and personal aspirations, leading to debates about identity, tradition, and changing social values. Question 19. Russia-Ukraine War. A. Failure of political institutions. B. Role of UN during conflicts. A. Failure of political institutions. The Russia-Ukraine war highlights significant weaknesses in both national and international political institutions. At the global level, mechanisms meant to prevent aggression such as diplomacy, multilateral negotiations, and international treaties were unable to de-escalate tensions. The inability of major powers to find a peaceful settlement reflects geopolitical rivalries overshadowing collective security. At the national level, political institutions failed to address long-standing disputes related to territory, identity, and power. Distrust, nationalism, and lack of effective dialogue channels deepened the conflict. Institutions responsible for conflict resolution, negotiation, and peace-building did not function effectively, resulting in military confrontation instead of diplomatic compromise. Thus, the war exposes the fragility of political institutions when confronted with competing national interests and great power politics. B. Role of the UN during conflicts. 1. Diplomacy and mediation. The UN attempts to facilitate dialogue between conflicting parties through special envoys, peace missions, and diplomatic forums. 2. Humanitarian assistance. UN agencies like UNCRA, UNICEF, and WFP provide food, shelter, medical aid, and support to displaced populations and refugees. 3. Monitoring and reporting. The UN documents human rights violations and provides independent assessments to the global community, ensuring transparency and accountability. 4. Peace resolutions and voting. The General Assembly and Security Council pass resolutions condemning aggression, calling for ceasefires, and urging respect for international law. 5. Sanctions and pressure. Although limited by veto power, the UN can recommend sanctions and mobilize global opinion to pressure aggressor states. 6. Protection of civilians. UN bodies work to safeguard civilians, especially women and children, during active conflict zones. Limitations. Security Council vetoes restrict strong action. Unequal power dynamics reduce the UN's capacity to enforce peace. Despite these limitations, the UN remains a crucial platform for humanitarian support, diplomacy, and international cooperation during conflicts. Question 20. Crime against women. I. Gender discrimination. 2. Laws to improve women's condition. I. Gender discrimination. Gender discrimination refers to unequal treatment of women in social, economic, and cultural spheres. It is one of the root causes of crimes against women. Traditional patriarchal norms view women as subordinate, leading to control over their mobility, choices, and bodies. This discrimination manifests as dowry demands, domestic violence, harassment, honor crimes, workplace inequality, and lack of decision-making power. Stereotypes portraying women as weak or dependent create social attitudes that justify domination. The unequal status assigned to women increases their vulnerability to violence and reduces their access to justice and protection. Thus, crime against women is deeply linked to systematic discrimination embedded in family, community, and institutional structures. 2. Laws to improve women's condition. 1. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, 2005. Provides legal protection against physical, emotional, verbal, and economic abuse within the household. 2. Dowry Prohibition Act, 1961. Criminalizes giving, taking, or demanding dowry, which is a major cause of harassment and violence. 3. Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act, 2013. Ensures safe working environments through internal complaints committees and strict procedures. 4. Criminal Law Amendments, 2013 and 2018. Strengthen laws on rape, stalking, voyeurism, acid attacks, and introduce harsher punishments. 5. Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, 2006. Prevents early marriage, which often exposes girls to domestic violence, early pregnancy, and loss of education. 6. Maternity Benefit Act, amended 2017. Provides paid maternity leave, creche facilities, and job security for working women. 7. National Commission for Women, NCW, Act, 1990. Creates a statutory body to address grievances, review policies, and protect women's rights. Question 21. Food and Agriculture and Religion. I. Population and feeding the world. 2. Causes of hunger. I. Population and feeding the world. The global population is increasing rapidly, placing significant pressure on food production systems. As countries grow in number and density, the demand for grains, vegetables, proteins, and clean water rises sharply. Modern agriculture has expanded through technology, high-yield seeds, fertilizers, mechanization, and irrigation, but these improvements are not evenly distributed across regions. Religion also influences food practices, agricultural traditions, and dietary restrictions, shaping the type and quantity of food consumed in different cultures. In many societies, religious festivals and rituals involve large-scale food consumption or distribution, affecting agricultural cycles. Feeding the world requires more sustainable farming, efficient land use, reduction of food waste, and equitable access to resources. Without these, rising population growth will continue to threaten global food security. 2. Causes of hunger. 1. Poverty. The most significant cause of hunger. Poor families cannot afford nutritious food even when it is available. 2. Unequal distribution of resources. Food production may be sufficient globally, but access is uneven due to economic inequality, land ownership issues, and lack of infrastructure. 3. Climate change. Droughts, floods, and unpredictable weather reduce crop yields and destroy livelihoods, especially in agrarian regions. 4. Conflict and political instability. Wars, displacement, and governance failures disrupt farming, markets, and food supply chains. 5. Unscientific agriculture. Dependence on outdated farming methods, low productivity, lack of irrigation, and minimal technological access contribute to food shortages. 6. Food waste. Large quantities of food are wasted during harvesting, transport, storage, and consumption, reducing availability. 7. Population pressure. Growing populations strain agricultural land, water resources, and food production capacities. 8. Social and cultural factors. In some places, discrimination based on caste, gender, or community affects access to food and nutrition. Question 22. Social inequality. I. Tribal problems. 2. Backward classes. I. Tribal problems. 1. Economic marginalization. Most tribal communities depend on forests and land for livelihood. Loss of land due to mining, dams, and deforestation leads to displacement and poverty. 2. Educational backwardness. Limited access to schools, language barriers, and lack of trained teachers result in low literacy rates among tribal populations. 3. Health issues. Tribal areas often lack hospitals, nutrition programs, sanitation, and clean water, leading to high infant mortality and widespread diseases. 4. Exploitation by non-tribals. Middlemen, moneylenders, and contractors exploit tribal labor and resources, increasing indebtedness. 5. Cultural erosion. Mainstream influences threaten their traditional customs, languages, and community life. 6. Administrative neglect. Remote locations and inadequate government presence restrict development and welfare delivery. 7. Displacement and loss of identity. Development projects often uproot tribes, causing psychological stress and weakening community bonds. 2. Backward classes. 1. Social discrimination. Backward classes, especially OBCs and other marginalized groups, face prejudice, unequal treatment, and stigma in education, work, and social life. 2. Economic deprivation. Historically limited access to land, skilled jobs, and capital keeps many backward class families in low-income occupations. 3. Educational gaps. Lower literacy, poor schooling facilities, and lack of coaching and opportunities widen inequality. 4. Limited political influence. Although representation is increasing, many backward class communities still lack significant voice in policy making. 5. Occupational restrictions. Traditional caste-based occupations limit upward mobility and reinforce hierarchy. 6. Lack of awareness of rights. Many backward class households are unaware of welfare schemes, reservations, and legal protections. 7. Social exclusion. Backward class individuals may face exclusion from community facilities, housing, or social networks. Question 23. Godmen in society. I. Evil practices of godmen. 2. Law and society in curbing them. I. Evil practices of godmen. 1. Blind faith and exploitation. Some godmen misuse people's emotions and vulnerabilities, claiming supernatural powers to gain followers and wealth. 2. Financial fraud. They often collect huge donations, run unregulated trusts, and engage in money laundering or property grabbing. 3. Sexual exploitation. Fake spiritual leaders have been involved in assault, coercion, and exploitation of women and minors under the guise of divine blessings. 4. Manipulation of devotees. Many spread superstitions, perform fake miracles, and exploit fear to maintain control over followers. 5. Political influence. Some godmen misuse their mass following to influence elections, support political agendas, or gain undue protection. 6. Criminal activities. Incidents involving violence, illegal confinement, arms, and intimidation have been reported from various ashrams. 2. Law and society in curbing them. 1. Strict legal action. Implementing laws related to fraud, sexual offenses, financial irregularities, and illegal confinement helps hold godmen accountable. 2. Anti-superstition legislation. States like Maharashtra and Karnataka have enacted laws that criminalize exploitative rituals and fake miracle claims. 3. Regulation of religious trusts. Monitoring accounts, auditing donations, and ensuring transparency can prevent misuse of funds. 4. Police vigilance and fast-track courts. Quick investigation and time-bound trials deter powerful godmen from escaping justice. 5. Social awareness and education. Public campaigns encouraging rational thinking reduce blind faith. Schools and community groups can promote scientific temper. 6. Media exposure. Investigative journalism helps uncover abuses and creates pressure for legal action. 7. Family and community responsibility. Encouraging critical thinking and discouraging superstition at home prevents people from becoming vulnerable to exploitation. Question 24. National election campaign using social media. A. Explain the importance of social media. B. Outline the impact of social media on society. A. Importance of social media in national election campaigns. 1. Mass reach and accessibility. Social media platforms reach millions instantly, allowing political parties to communicate directly with voters across regions, age groups, and social backgrounds. 2. Cost-effective campaigning. Unlike traditional campaigning, rallies, posters, TV ads, social media requires lower expenditure while offering higher visibility and continuous engagement. 3. Real-time communication. Leaders can share updates, speeches, manifestos, and responses immediately, making campaigns more dynamic and interactive. 4. Targeted messaging. Algorithms help parties target specific voter groups: youth, urban voters, women, or marginalized communities based on interests and demographics. 5. Public engagement and feedback. Likes, comments, polls, and discussions allow politicians to understand public sentiment instantly and adjust campaign strategies. 6. Agenda setting and narrative building. Social media shapes election narratives, highlights issues, counters misinformation, and promotes the party's image. B. Impact of social media on society. 1. Increased political awareness. People, especially youth, become more informed about policies, debates, and leaders due to easy access to political content. 2. Enhanced participation. Online campaigns motivate first-time voters, women, and marginalized groups to participate in elections, strengthening democracy. 3. Spread of misinformation. Fake news, edited videos, and propaganda spread quickly, creating confusion and polarization. 4. Formation of echo chambers. People consume content that matches their beliefs, reducing exposure to diverse viewpoints and increasing ideological divides. 5. Mobilization for social causes. Social media helps organize protests, awareness drives, and citizen movements, giving power to public voices. 6. Accountability and transparency. Leaders are monitored closely by the public, activists, and journalists, making political behavior more transparent. 7. Negative online behavior. Trolling, hate speech, and cyberbullying can discourage open discussion and create a hostile environment. Question 25. Workplace sexual harassment. A woman is being repeatedly asked out by a male colleague despite refusing multiple times. A. Explain the term sexual harassment. B. What legal steps can she take to stop the harassment? A. Explain the term sexual harassment. Sexual harassment refers to any unwelcome behavior of a sexual nature that creates a hostile, intimidating, or uncomfortable environment for the victim. It includes verbal, nonverbal, physical, or written acts that violate a person's dignity. In the workplace, this may include repeated requests for dates, unwanted comments, inappropriate messages, physical advances, staring, touching, or any action that makes an employee feel unsafe or humiliated. According to the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition, and Redressal Act, 2013, any unwelcome sexual behavior, direct or implied, qualifies as sexual harassment when it interferes with a woman's work, compromises her security, or affects her mental well-being. B. What legal steps can she take? 1. File a complaint with the Internal Complaints Committee, ICC. Every workplace with 10 or more employees must have an ICC under the 2013 Act. She can submit a written complaint within 3 months of the incident. The ICC will conduct an inquiry and recommend appropriate action. 2. Demand immediate protection or transfer. During the inquiry, she can request temporary relief measures such as transfer of the accused, change of work location, or leave to ensure her safety. 3. Approach the Local Complaints Committee, LCC. If the workplace lacks an ICC, or if she is uncomfortable approaching it, she can file a complaint with the district-level LCC. 4. File a police complaint. Repeated harassment may amount to criminal offenses like stalking, outraging modesty, or intimidation under the Indian Penal Code, Sections 354A, 354D, 509. She can register and FIR. 5. Seek support from NGOs or legal aid services. Women's helplines, counseling centers, and free legal aid services can guide her through procedures and ensure her rights are protected. Question 26. Media influence on crime reporting. A news report shows someone accused of a crime, and everyone starts judging them even before trial. A. What is the role of mass media? B. How can mass media influence public opinion? A. Role of mass media. Mass media plays a crucial role in informing society about events, crimes, and public issues. Its primary functions include: 1. Dissemination of information. Media keeps the public updated about incidents, investigations, and social problems. 2. Watchdog function. It exposes corruption, injustice, and misuse of power, ensuring accountability. 3. Educating the public. Media spreads awareness on rights, laws, and safety measures, helping citizens make informed decisions. 4. Shaping social awareness. By highlighting crime trends, victim issues, and reforms, media brings social problems into public debate. 5. Agenda setting. Media decides which issues get attention, influencing the national conversation and policy priorities. However, when not responsible, media can sensationalize crime reports and affect fair trial principles. B. How mass media can influence public opinion. 1. Sensationalism and bias. Dramatic headlines and exaggerated storytelling can make the audience form judgments quickly, often before evidence is presented. 2. Trial by media. Continuous coverage of an accused person can portray them as guilty, influencing public perception and sometimes even legal processes. 3. Emotional appeal. Images, interviews, and emotional narratives can sway viewers' feelings, creating sympathy for victims or hostility toward the accused. 4. Selective reporting. Focusing only on certain aspects like the accused's background or past actions can distort facts and create stereotypes. 5. Repetition of news. Constant repetition reinforces a particular narrative, shaping beliefs and opinions even without complete information. 6. Social media amplification. Content shared on social platforms spreads quickly, leading to public outrage, trolling, and widespread assumptions. Question 27. A student from a poor family cannot afford books. A. Briefly explain what is class stratification. B. What can be done to help students from lower social classes? A. Class stratification. Class stratification refers to the hierarchical arrangement of people in society based on economic resources, occupation, education, and lifestyle. Individuals are divided into social classes such as upper, middle, and lower, depending on their access to wealth and opportunities. This system creates unequal life chances. The rich have better access to quality education, healthcare, and jobs, while the poor face limitations and fewer opportunities for upward mobility. Class stratification becomes a cycle. Poverty restricts education, and lack of education keeps people poor. B. Helping students from lower social classes. 1. Scholarships and financial assistance. Providing free textbooks, stationery, uniforms, and fee waivers helps reduce the financial burden on poor families. 2. Government schemes. Midday meals, free cycles, hostel facilities, and direct benefit transfers encourage attendance and reduce dropout rates. 3. Community and NGO support. Nonprofit organizations can donate books, run free libraries, offer tutoring, and mentor students. 4. Digital access. Providing tablets, internet facilities, and digital learning centers ensures students are not left behind due to lack of resources. 5. Inclusive school environment. Schools should support first-generation learners with remedial classes, counseling, and teacher sensitivity training. 6. Public libraries and book banks. Easy access to shared learning materials helps students study without needing to purchase expensive books. 7. Encouraging corporate CSR. Companies can adopt schools, provide scholarships, and sponsor educational materials under corporate social responsibility.